You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy episode 660.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from APG headquarters in Roswell, Georgia. Today's show is recorded on the week of April 21st, 2025.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Picture light and he's flying by. With the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, a Delta flight with passengers catches fire on the ground at Orlando Airport. And what about pilots with beards trying to use oxygen masks? There's a new study. Also ahead, more news and your feedback. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and locked positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 660 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He is an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the number one all-news station in the nation. 1010 wins on 92.3 FM in
New York City!
Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation and answering your feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, a former U.S. Air Force pilot, retired Delta Airlines captain. And joining me from his studio,
in Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
a retired professional dog photographer, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi there, Jeff. Going to be a nice show, just you and me. Oh, and perhaps Steph. But for the moment, APG 660. You know, there was an airplane called the 660. It was the Armstrong Whitworth AW660 Argosy. And if Liz could pop up the picture, the lovely thing about the Armstrong Whitworth 660 was its nickname. It was called the Whistling Tit.
I can see that.
Well, I can see that, but what's the whistling part? Why was it whistling?
Because it whistled. It was a leaky aeroplane. Everything whistled.
Huh.
Apparently.
Okay.
Whistling tit.
Very interesting. Okay, great.
Another classic.
Another classic. And also, joining us, you hear her lovely voice from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We have retired financier, aviation enthusiast, and spreadsheet master. It's our producer, Liz Piper.
Hi, everybody. I've already done one swipey thing.
Have you? Didn't even notice
it. I did just when you finished
everything
the
went
intro.
black for a while, but
yeah,
I don't think you spotted it, Jeff.
I did a quick recovery.
Too many other windows going on here open to cover everything up. So you got away with it. You didn't even have to admit it, Liz. I would not have noticed.
I had to confess to you, Father.
Okay.
Bye, you guys. Have a good show.
Well, thanks, Liz.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Captain Nick, what do you think we go ahead and start with some aviation news?
Well, that'll make a change.
Stand by for news.
All righty. In Orlando, Florida, the Orlando International Airport, they had a little bit of excitement. The nice folks at the in the gatehouse area, they were looking out the window and they saw this. That's yeah. Sorry about that language there. We'll have to fix that in post. So looks like the number 2 engine, the right engine on this 767-300. No, it's a 330.
It's a 330,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A330 caught on. It's one of our older, or one of Delta's oldest 330s. It was the registration is November Whiskey from Northwest Airlines days. And looks like that engine was a little tired too, a little old and tired.
A little hot.
And so we got the pretty quick response from the airport fire and rescue. And then we have, let's see, another video here with a little bit more action going on. We got the slides, the doors open, the slides deployed, and we have some folks going down the slides.
A little far to see if they've got luggage, but...
Yeah, I can't tell. It doesn't look like they have any luggage so far that I can see. Now the ARFF vehicle is blocking our view. How rude.
He's doing it on purpose to stop the photography.
Yeah. And then, let's see, we have another video, I think from the same person in the terminal. And that's more concentrating on the back door of the 330 and the slide deploying. Oh, I guess, is that it? Well, that was a shorter video than I thought. Anyway, so yeah, we had a little excitement on that flight. Let's see, a Delta airplane carrying 200 passengers. This is from clickorlando.com news, a local Orlando news affiliate. A Delta airplane carrying 200 passengers caught fire Monday at Orlando International Airport, but there were no initial reports of injuries. Delta Airlines identified the plane as Flight 1213, scheduled to depart. I've never seen OIA before, Orlando International. I guess its real code is MCO. So
wasn't that because it was McCoy Air Force Base?
Yes, that is correct, Liz. It was McCoy Air Force Base before it became the...
I always thought it has something to do with Moscow.
I don't think so. Anyway, it was a Orlando to Atlanta flight supposed to depart at 11 o'clock a.m. The fire started in the tailpipe of one of the aircraft's two engines, according to the airline. It sounded like a large thump. We thought it was probably like someone who was putting luggage into the plane or something like that. A passenger who was on the flight told News 6. And then we saw an orange flash. Delta passengers, let's see, that's probably some kind of a caption that I'm reading there. Other videos posted on social media showed the plane's emergency slides deployed with the passengers standing nearby. Okay, we saw a little bit of that. We appreciate our customers' cooperation, apologize for the experience. Nothing is more important than safety, and Delta teams will work to get our customers to their final destinations as soon as we put out the fires of their clothing. Yeah, let's see. In addition to the passengers, there were 10 flight attendants and 2 pilots on board.
That's a big plane flying from Orlando to Atlanta.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a big market for Delta.
Sure.
We used to fly the L-1011
Wow.
back and forth between Atlanta and Orlando back when we were the official airline of
Mickey
Disney
Mouse?
World. Yeah, Mickey Mouse.
Do we know anybody
Anyway,
that used to fly 330s that might want to comment on this at all?
Do we know anybody that flew 330s?
I can't think of anyone
so.
Okay.
offhand.
All right, move on then.
I think it's nothing specific to a 330. It's more specific to the engine. I'm not sure what engine type is on this particular model. But yeah, that happens sometimes. Who knows? It doesn't really give us any information about what happened exactly.
No, not really. I mean, they said it was a jet pipe fire, which is relatively common, actually, because particularly during startup, because if the fuel is introduced into the engine and for whatever reason it doesn't ignite and start the engine running, that fuel will build up. It will continue to gush into the engine. And then eventually, if it does light up, you end up with a big puddle of fuel in the bottom of the engine that's all burning, and it often comes out of the jet pipe, in a big flaming mess and dribbles everywhere, as you probably imagine. And the usual trick is just to run the engine, because the engine is designed to have fire inside it. It's not really a dramatic event. It's not designed to have fire dribbling everywhere and pouring around the cowling, so that's not good. But if you can get the engine going, you'll just blow all the jet pipe fire out. All the air will rush through the engine. The fire will the jet fuel will burn, the fire will just concentrate on where it's supposed to be, inside the burning tubes inside the engine, and all will be good. If it was down to a failure, then that's a different matter, because if you can't get the engine running and blow it out, then because it's a failure, because there's an issue with the fuel valve in there or something that's in the wrong position, then you're going to have to shut it down and get the fire trucks around. And the last thing you actually want is for the fire trucks to start squirting foam down an engine, because that foam is got a fire retardant quality, but it is quite corrosive, and you're now pushing corrosive foam into a multi-million-dollar engine, one of the most expensive components of the aircraft, and you don't really want that. It can do quite a bit of damage, so that's not ideal. Usually, if you've got someone there who knows their stuff, particularly in the see-off crew, and I'm assuming they've just pushed back because there's a tug still attached to the front of the aircraft, then you would hope that the ground engineer that is on the headset can tell you it's just a jet pipe fire. Can you run the engine? So that would be perfect. If you've got someone inexperienced and never seen it before, doesn't recognize it for what it is, just says, "Oh, you're on fire," then I guess you're going to end up shutting the engines down and doing an evacuation. But for just a jet pipe fire, you would rather not do an evacuation. It's relatively easy to keep under control, and particularly with a decent fire chief as well, who, if you get on the right frequency and you're speaking to him and coordinating well, he's there ready to put any fire out. And if you've got a good fire chief and a good see-off crew and a crew on board the aircraft that are all working well together, this is almost a non-event. But I'm not saying that there wasn't that situation in here. I'm just saying perhaps the communication wasn't as precise as it could be, because they ended up evacuating, which is not really ideal, because, as we all know, putting people down those slides can cause injuries, particularly for the elderly and the infirm. You can kill people. I hate to say it. You can often cause quite severe injuries, and people have died as a result of an evacuation down the slides. Not trying to put anyone off. Usually the concept of staying on board a burning aeroplane is not as attractive as going down the slides. But so you'd rather not if you can possibly help it. But if you've got to make a decision, and the safest thing is probably to evacuate.
Have either one of you had a pipe fire like that happen?
Yeah, I've had jet pipe fires. Yeah.
I've had we tend to refer to them as tailpipe fires over here, but the same thing. And as Captain Nick said, the best thing to do in that case is just to make sure that you shut off the fuel and then keep the rotation of the fans going, and that eventually blows everything out.
Yeah,
at least that's been
motoring the engine.
Yeah, keep motoring the engine. I think it was a telltale sign that when this happened, I didn't see anybody running from the jet tug away from the airplane, so that was good.
Yes.
That's actually one of the signals to the flight crew. When you see everybody on the ground running away, then you're thinking, maybe this is serious and we should evacuate. All right. Very good. Okay, let's look at this next one here in our news. This is an incident that happened at San Juan, Puerto Rico. Frontier Airlines Airbus A321-200 November, registration 607 Foxtrot Romeo, performing flight 3506 from Orlando again. To San Juan, Puerto Rico, with 228 people on board. Touchdown hard on San Juan's runway 10 at 21:40 local time. Went around. During climb-out, the left-hand engine, a Pratt & Whitney 1133 Golf, emitted a continuous streak of flames for several seconds. The airport subsequently closed both runways initially, advising crews of arriving aircraft that there was debris on the runways, and then subsequently advising there had been a hard landing on one of the runways, and the aircraft is now going to use the other runway. The landing runway was being inspected for debris. The aircraft subsequently entered a hold to work checklist associated with the landing gear. By the way, I'm reading this from the Aviation Herald. The aircraft subsequently entered a hold to work checklists associated with landing gear. The aircraft positioned for a low approach to San Juan's runway 8. About 27 minutes later, landed without further incident on runway 8 about 40 minutes after the Boca landing. The aircraft vacated the runway at the end and stopped on a parallel taxiway. Runway 8 was reopened after landing, while runway 10 remained closed for some time. Let's see. The FAA reported aircraft attempting to land struck the runway hard, damaging the landing gear, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Passengers reported there had been a shockingly hard touchdown. Then there were moments of panic on board as the left engine was emitting fire. So now I think would be a good time to see exactly what it was that they were experiencing on the jet. Here we go.
Now to that harrowing flight on board a Frontier Airlines plane from Orlando to San Juan. Passengers looking out the window, frightened by what they saw. The plane making a hard landing, then going around and landing again. ABC's Gio Benitez covers aviation for us.
Tonight, the terrifying moments before this Frontier Airlines jet finally touched down in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Edwin Soto telling us inside the dark cabin,
that was the pilots
calling their families to say goodbye.
It was landing too fast. Out of the sudden, it just slams in the floor. Everybody starts screaming.
The pilot attempting to land, striking the runway so hard it damaged the plane, sending pieces of the landing gear flying.
We're checking for debris on the runway as we speak.
Going around again, the pilot trying to land on another runway.
Yes, I've broken that runway. Let me try this one.
When they arrived on the ground.
They're heroes.
Flight attendants urging calm, directing passengers down the stairs onto the runway. Jeffrey Cerda filming from the tarmac.
Llegamos, gracias a Dios.
We made it, thank God, he said. And Lindsay, that plane is still on the ground in San Juan, closing the entire airport for a time last night. All 230 people on board are okay. Lindsay?
Okay.
So much relief about that, Gio. Thank you.
I'm so relieved.
Oh, I went and relieved myself.
Well, thank you for that information, Liz. And you might want to check the cushions of the sofa that you're sitting on.
Yeah, I think I will.
So I think we have some pictures from that aftermath. Okay.
I'm showing them.
You were showing them. I thought we were showing video. When I was originally reading it. Okay. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. Jeff, you just don't pay attention. Yeah, it looks like the one of the nose wheels. There's usually two. In this case, when they came back, there was only one remaining on the nose wheel gear spindle, or whatever the technical name is for that. I guess, Captain Nick, did they do a wheelbarrow touchdown, or just a normal main and then just slammed the nose gear on the ground? I mean, obviously
one or other.
Yeah,
I would say
it doesn't really say.
Without a picture of the landing, I don't think we're going to be able to tell. But I'm intrigued. They obviously had an engine fault. I'm just wondering if that was where the wheel ended up.
I'm thinking that has the debris from the nose gear assembly somehow got sucked up into that left engine.
And because it certainly looked like it was smoking severely on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't actually MB which side the nose wheel had separated from. It doesn't mean to say it couldn't go down either engine.
The left hand in that picture, I think. I think it's gone there. Oh.
It does look like the left nose wheel departed.
Well, that would be the
right one. Yeah, it's the right nose wheel.
From if you were sitting in the aircraft looking forward.
Yep.
And
I guess
it was
I'm not
the
seeing it
left
closely
side
enough.
of the left side engine that seemed to be smoking. So
Yeah.
But I mean, depends entirely where the forces are as to which, and it could have not necessarily the wheel. It could have just been other debris that ended up messing that engine up for a little bit. But they didn't seem to suggest there'd been an engine failure as well. So perhaps it wasn't damaged that bad, but enough to make a bit of make it surge a little bit. Perhaps
Make it exciting for the passengers.
What plane was that? Exactly. A 320? What was that plane? What was it? What
321, I think.
And they said that there were 200 passengers on it? Wow.
228, which they must have the whole thing in economy configuration.
Yeah, it's all one. I think it's one class configuration. And they just
Let me say, that's a lot.
That is a lot, Liz.
Well, it was more than that was on that
330.
330
exactly.
in the first story. There are only 200 on that one. But that's
Frontier is one of those airlines here that really likes to. It's very, very small pitch or whatever you call that, like very little space between all the passengers on board the aircraft. It's quite snug. They say. Yeah.
Anyway, well done. Not well done for the crew for the first landing, but well done for the second landing. I'm surprised the airport let them use the other runway, saying, "Look, that's already good runway. You land it on the one that you just."
Use the one that you already made
a mess of.
It's your fault. So you deal with it.
Yeah. Anyway, pleased everyone's okay.
Yep.
Here's another interesting landing.
Another interesting landing, huh? Okay. Yes, you're right, Liz. I think let's go ahead and play. Let's start off on this one with some video. This time, correctly, WRIC.com. It's a local affiliate in Oregon. Let's see.
A small private jet trying to land at Southwest Oregon Regional Airport in North Bend skidded off the runway early Monday morning and into Coos Bay, ending up about 100 feet out in the water.
City's request to respond to the North Bend Airport report as a single private jet that's crashed, 5 passengers on. There is injuries.
Emergency crews scrambled to the scene on the southern Oregon coast.
The jet actually went into the water. Everybody's exiting and trying to make their way to the shore.
The 4 passengers and 1 pilot were treated for minor injuries, according to an airport spokesperson.
But I know that within just a short period of time, they were in an ambulance being taken to the hospital.
The small business jet was flying from St. George, Utah to North Bend, Oregon, a route it's made before, according to flight records. Just before landing, the pilot reported a problem with his brakes, the airport spokesperson explained. After skidding across the runway, the pilot just missed a small building, ending up in Coos Bay. 3 sides of the runway are surrounded by water.
The pilot was able to take evasive action to avoid a critically important air navigational tool at the end of the runway.
They need a muff.
The NTSB allowed the plane to be removed from the water. It will be evaluated by federal investigators to help determine what happened.
Commercial air service was temporarily suspended at Southwest Oregon Regional Airport this morning. Service has since resumed.
A scary situation for sure. Appreciate you looking into it, Kyle.
Hey, Joe, can you get the microphone muff? It's in my car. I left it. We'll just have to deal with all the wind.
We only have one, and it's on another story.
I thought that was great. I mean, he obviously had no control of the airplane, which is why he ran off the end of the runway. And to say that he avoided the navigation,
like he had any control of all of that.
Yes,
Maybe he did.
I'm going. I don't think he had a lot of option. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I've reading all the notes you've carefully assembled. Yeah, Jeff, this aircraft seems to be prone to this sort of control issue on landing under braking. Does anyone know? Do we have any Honda pilots?
In our live audience, I don't know if we have any Honda Jet pilots, but I have to give credit where credit is due. It's Liz that compiled all this wonderful.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, that's cool.
Information in this article, in this note. But yes, there have been many incidents involving the Honda Jet, the Honda HA 420. At least in this case, it was a 2019 Honda HA 420. And in fact, one of the articles that Liz included here, which we'll have in the show notes for everyone, is from Aviation Week. And let's see, Honda Jet has experienced 8 runway excursions in the last 22 months at the time of this writing. And I think this was, February 28, 2025 when this was written. So within the last year, 8 runway excursions. Are these merely statistical coincidences attributed? Wow.
A lot of S's
3
there.
difficult words all in a row. Statistical coincidences attributable to individual pilot errors, as opined by supporters of the jet, or do these reflect a design with challenging handling characteristics as suggested by others? These are important questions best answered by solid data, objective investigations, and the application of human factors engineering seeking to optimize the pilot-vehicle interface. The most recent runway excursion occurred, before this one we just reported, December 6, 2024, during landing in Muskegon, Michigan. Information from the Aviation Safety Network indicated that the Honda HA 420 Honda Jet experienced an excursion when landing on runway 24. The aircraft struck the 3,000-foot remaining runway sign. The latest METAR reported winds were light at 3 knots, so the winds weren't really a factor. Good visibility.
At least he knew how far he had to go.
Yeah, it was very evident.
Jeff, we do have an expert in the show. Oh, no, it's not really an expert.
Oh, let's see. Logan in our live audience. I drive a
what
Honda
are the brakes
Pilot.
like, Logan?
Well, it's close.
It's
Honda,
close. A Honda and
Pilot.
Yeah.
That usually has something to do with flying, but in this case, it does not.
No, but nice try, Logan.
Yeah. Oh, well, close. Well, we could probably still ask him his opinion about this.
I'm sure he has one.
I'm sure he has one.
Well, he's a pilot. Of course he has.
I'm sorry. I had to cough a little bit. I had a little chest congestion trying to make its way up my windpipe. All right. Let's see. Unfortunately, a high-speed runway excursion after a takeoff attempt at Mesa Falcon Field on November 5th resulted in 5 fatalities. The pilot and 3 passengers were fatally injured, along with a single occupant of an automobile that was struck. Oh, I think we covered this one.
We did, yep.
So anyway, they're definitely looking into this trend of excursions involving this jet, and I don't know a heck of a lot about it, except that I don't believe it has thrust reversers. I think it has like a basic spoiler assembly on the very end, like the back of the tail, below the rudder assembly. I think it's like one of those clamshell things that pop out to kind of help with the deceleration. But I don't believe it really provides a heck of a lot of drag. So you're basically, and I don't think they have spoilers either on the wings. So, you have a situation where, most, not most, but a lot of, especially airliners and business jets, a lot of business jets have spoilers on the wings so that, at a certain point during the touchdown, the spoiler panels will come up, which spoils the lift. So it keeps the lift from, the wing from generating lift, which basically puts all the weight down on the main gear. And then the main gear braking takes, and you get much more effective braking when all the weight is on the main gear assembly. And again, these engines, it's an interesting design. They're mounted on the wings, although if you look at a picture, it looks like it's a typical business jet with the 2 engines mounted on either side of the tail.
Oh, they're on
the back.
upward pylons.
But there are actually pylons on top of the wings that pop them up, and it's a very interesting design.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they've had issues with directional control of the airplane on the ground at high speeds, especially during landing.
Interesting, isn't it? I noticed that they corrected the lack of spoilers on the Elite 2 version of the aircraft. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know if this one did or not. Probably not, because they haven't mentioned that. But I still don't quite understand why you should run off a runway just because you don't have thrust reversers and you've got small tires or whatever with a small contact area, because the whole point of doing your landing distance calculations so that it doesn't matter what size your tires are or whether you've got reversers or not. If you do the calculations on the weather and the runway condition and the weight of the aircraft and the speed of the approach, etc., you'll get a landing distance that's safe, and you won't attempt to land unless you're very silly, unless you are sure that you're going to be able to stop, and that's with usually about a 15% safety factor as well. So I don't accept that this airplane is dodgy because it's got a lack of stopping facilities. Because if you do your calculations right, and Honda should be providing this information for their pilots, they can calculate a landing distance and they can work out whether it's safe to land or not, just like any airliner or aircraft would, if you want. But I suspect it's more of a directional control issue, personally. And if pilots are having problems with the aircraft getting squirrely on landing and possibly diverging, they're not going to be able to apply full braking. And that may be a factor why aircraft are running off the end of the runway, for example.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know what? Just a brief pause, or not pause, but pause in our coverage of this news article, because we have noticed that Dr. Steph is now with us in the green room, and so we're going to bring her on and say hello, Dr. Steph.
It's not very green,
Hello.
that room. Oh,
No,
it is a bit
it's sort of green. Blue
It's
green.
light blue.
Yeah.
Like blue.
Okay, yeah.
If you
It's
squint,
definitely light
yeah,
blue.
it's kind of green.
The blue room.
know.
We'll have to call it the blue room.
The blue room. Okay.
All right. Yes.
Oh, how are you?
Yeah, sorry, I was here earlier, but I had no audio coming into my headphones for some reason, and the usual fix for that is just to shut everything down and start it back up, and that worked perfectly. So
Always a great fix for a computer device, right? Just shut her down and restart it.
It's been a day for computer stuff too. So I don't know. It's like,
Well, it must be you then.
maybe, I don't know. This was the other computer issue was a nationwide outage of the particular program, one of the particular programs that we use at work. That was like an hour and a half worth.
We'll let you off the hook for that one then.
Yeah. I didn't have anything to do with that one. I wasn't really even at work when that occurred. I just got the tail end of it.
Yeah. Well, we'll learn more from your woes once we get to the getting to know us segment.
Been some things today. So,
Yeah.
and they're not over yet. So if I leave suddenly to answer the phone, I'm sorry. in
Gotcha.
advance.
All right. Completely understandable. So, Steph, because this Honda Jet is made, I don't know if they're all made in the Carolinas or not, but I think they are.
I don't know if they are
Greensboro?
anymore. Certainly when I was, Greensboro area, when they were first doing all their certification for the new type and everything, we'd hear a lot of the test flights because I did a lot of my instrument and commercial training up in the Winston-Salem area. So you always hear Honda test. So, to Captain Nick's point, I was listening a little bit there. I'm sure they have all that data for parameters for, max crosswind, tailwind components, landing distance, all of that's going to be there. This jet has been around for a decent amount of time now. So, I'm not sure what else to add to that you guys haven't already discussed.
Yeah, in this article from Aviation Week, it was an interesting couple of paragraphs here. Dr. Sheldon Barron worked on aircraft control for decades at the famed NASA Langley Research Center and subsequently appointed as a member of the prestigious National Academy of Sciences and National Research Council Committee on Human Factors. He wrote a book, Human Factors in Aviation. He provided an important insight and historical perspective into why innovative aircraft configurations with different dynamic characteristics have experienced persistent difficulties with PIOs, which is pilot-induced oscillations. He goes on, each of our limbs has specific properties in terms of its strength, response rate, ability to make large versus small movements. This is important when considering the use of the legs for steering control, which is typically what we do at the first part of the landing and rollout we're using the rudder pedals or legs to make small movements and control the direction of the jet going down the runway. This is important when considering the use of the leg. Okay, the legs are large and capable of powerful movements. The legs are less adept at making the fine motions required for a jet with sensitive steering qualities. This is further complicated due to varying lengths of legs, seat adjustment, both of which modify the legs' reactions, place feet at potential angles which could inadvertently result in forward flexion, or flexion, I guess, maybe, called plantar flexion. Depending on flexion, okay. Depending on foot placement, this could apply pressure to the upper portion of a rudder pedal. That's where the brakes are, resulting in inadvertent brake pressure. Those with tail dragger experience can quickly understand the absolute importance of foot placement to prevent the unwanted consequences of foot flexion. Thus, the ergonomics of the seat, the rudder pedal position, varying leg lengths, foot size, all that can complicate aircraft handling on the ground. So anyway, I guess they're looking into all these possibilities here for the design of the Honda's rudder pedals and brakes and directional control systems.
Neil has a question, Jeff.
Neil has a question in our live audience. Is that just for noise reduction, or do they get some Coanda effect by having the engines mounted that way?
Oh, Neil's showing off.
Coanda effect. What the heck is that?
Isn't that a country in Africa? Oh,
I think
Rwanda.
No, I think it's Rwanda.
I believe the Coanda effect is a rotating body or airflow around a circular body that creates lift. Would be a Coanda effect.
The tendency of a fluid to stay attached to a curved surface.
Yeah. Okay. So you got to Yeah,
I think that's exactly why they did it.
No.
Dr. Jeffrey Nielsen.
Neil, because if they stuck them on the bottom, they'd be scraping along the ground.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that was a design. The original version had them like coming from underneath, but yeah, they didn't get very far.
No, they destroyed a lot of engines that way.
They could have mounted them on the tail, of course, on the back of the fuselage.
Well, that would be unique.
It would be more conventional.
Wouldn't stand apart at all.
But I suspect the ease of getting fuel out of the wing tanks into the engines probably made them think, oh, this would be simple. We'll just stick them on top.
I have read articles regarding this and why they chose this for their design, which was a little bit unconventional. But I guess there have been cases of this kind of engine mounting and placement in the past, but it's something we haven't seen, relatively recently until the Honda jet surfaced. Anyway, and the good thing about this particular incident in Coos Bay in Oregon is the fact that the water was relatively shallow. The water that they ended up in, 5 feet deep, I think. They got out and they were able to stand on the floor.
Yeah,
on
the floor.
The
bottom of the lake or
the bottom
bay,
of the I guess it would be the floor.
The bay.
In this case, So, but there were some injuries, as I mentioned. Not sure exactly how extensive, but
it looks like the nose is damaged there.
Yeah, the nose. I don't know what happened there, but anywho. Okay, and then Steph is going into a lot of detail with Micah regarding 2 types of flexion. Wow. So
sorry, that was a sidebar conversation. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was a private conversation. I should not have mentioned. But
sidebar.
Oh, sidebar. Okay, not private. But Neil, we are really impressed with your knowledge of the Coanda effect.
You'll be getting your certificate in the mail.
Yeah, let me ring the bell.
It's only because he listened to one of my plane tales.
Yeah.
Oh, is that why?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm surprised you didn't mention that before he did. Okay.
Nick is humble. Captain Nick.
Yes, so humble. All right. Let's continue, shall we? This is from themirror.com. But this didn't happen anywhere in the UK. This is something that happened in Boca Raton. Kind of a tragic flight. There was a Cessna 310R that killed 3 people. The headline, Bizarre Flight Path of Boca Raton Jet Mapped Before Fiery Crash in Florida. And let's see, animation shows the alleged path of a small plane that crashed in Boca Raton. So I guess maybe we'll play the local news reporting of this incident first. And at the very beginning, it shows just a little bit of the top part of the aircraft before it hit the ground. And then they go into a little bit more detail.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Number 3, the second deadly air emergency in just 2 days. You can see the flames in South Florida earlier this afternoon. This plane crash in Boca Raton killed 3 people and hurt a 4th person. That 4th person was driving in the area at the time. Investigators think a mechanical issue caused the plane to go down.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
This shocking chopper crash in New York City was breaking news yesterday at 4 in this new...
Okay, why are we talking about that? I don't know.
Filler.
We'll cut that out. By the way, I'm really confused. So let's see. The first article is from The Mirror, a UK publication. Or no, The Mirror US. I guess it's their US office. And then that video that we just played a little bit of is from CBS News in Minnesota. It's like everybody's really focused on Boca Raton for some reason. Okay, let's continue with this article. 3 people died when a small plane crashed on a road in southwest Florida on Friday morning. Plane, a Cessna 310, went down near the Boca Raton airport around 10:20 local time. Flight data from Flight Radar 24 shows the aircraft made several circles in the airspace above Boca Raton airport before ultimately crashing. It crashed on North Military Trail and caused at least 1 car to catch fire. Images from the scene show. A driver was injured when he ran his car into a tree due to the debris and fire. Images from the scene show the burned-out car pinned against 2 trees with the surrounding area doused in white foam. Debris from the plane can be seen strewn across the road. And Michael LaSalle says from Boca Fire Rescue that the aircraft had apparently some mechanical issues. Yeah. Let's see. So, let's see. Update. The victims were a teenage girl and her 2 family members. The teen was identified as Brooke Stark, 17 years old. The other 2 adults were identified as Robert Stark, 81, and Stephen Stark, 54. So
3 generations,
like
I think, of the same family.
Yeah, a couple of different, 3 generations of the family there. Liz, I'm sure you've already shown the some of the graphics from the flight path. Can you show the 3D graphic one?
This one?
Should be another one in there. No. No, I guess maybe it never made it in there. No. I have it in Evernote. I added it. Sorry, I should have told you. There was a graphic that kind of showed had a 3-dimensional view of how not only this is what we're seeing now that Liz is showing us on the video, which we'll have in the show notes, the bird's eye view of the flight path of this aircraft. And shortly after it took off, it looked like it made a quick left turn and then kind of circled over the top of the runway. And then it does a whole bunch of cloverleaf looking maneuvers, and in the 3D path, you'll see that it's not at a steady altitude, it's going up and down as well. It looked like a very
but all left turns, right?
Crazy, all left turns, crazy roller coaster, and turning left and going up and down, and obviously something keeping the pilot from controlling it in a normal way. So something must have, I don't know. Who knows? They're
something preventing it from
investigating this,
from doing right turns,
or even
so
leveling, straight and level.
Yeah.
Just something, and very strange. It's not something you see very often when you see aircraft accidents. This kind of a pattern, but it looks like whoever's at the controls of this aircraft was doing their darndest to try to maintain control. Let me see. I have another video. Let me pop that one up there, and we can kind of track the thing. I think it was from Flight Radar 24. Let me hit the play on this one. It's going kind of in a very fast motion right now, but you can see how the whole thing was just a series of left turns, and then finally couldn't get it back close enough to the airport, and they had to try to attempt to land on a highway or a road, I guess, North Military Trail. What do you guys think?
Well, it smacks of a control restriction, I guess, because I can't think of any other reason why you just keep on doing circles to the left.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch. I think Blanco Lirio actually has an episode out on this as well.
Yeah, he
and
does.
if I remember correctly, at least from I'd started to go to watch it and then just ran out of time just to see what his thoughts were on it as well. But it sounds like the pilot was also aerobatic trained, so whatever was going on was sufficient enough that someone with that background and training was unable to work their way out of it.
So the point is that this person probably a little bit more skilled in aircraft in unusual
handling maneuvers, unusual
yeah.
attitudes. Sure.
I think if I watched his thing, I think he talked about.
So, I don't know. There's, like I said, he's got an
an
article out there. It sounds like maybe he's got more information as to what actually occurred. I haven't watched it, unfortunately. But yeah.
Well, Liz is saying, because I don't think you're on Unity, that Juan said something about perhaps maybe a gust lock was still installed or jammed or left on. Yeah, I don't think I actually watched that one, but I'll try to remember to get that and put that in our show notes as well. Juan always does a very good job of in-depth analysis of these things. All right.
Sad.
Yeah, very sad. All right, let's move on to this next one.
What's the title of this?
This one is, let me make sure I have this right. Is it a test, Liz? Did I do something wrong?
No, I just thought you might start with the title because it's kind of an interesting
Okay.
title.
The title of this one, Liz, is Runway Too Short?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
So let's pop that up into the, there you go, already got it for me, thank you. A Delta Airlines, this happened in New York at John F. Kennedy. A Delta Airlines Airbus A330-900, registration November 430 Delta X-ray, performing flight 47 from Amsterdam to New York, was cleared to land on runway 4 left, and was about to touch the ground when the flight crew went around, reported that they had gotten the notification in the cockpit that the runway was too short. 4 left is not a short runway. They positioned for another approach for runway 4 left and went around again from about 300 feet due to the same reason. The flight crew requested delay vectors, and after the communication with maintenance, decided to land on runway 31 left, which is their longest runway. After that, they landed safely and continued taxiing to the gate. So let's go ahead and give this a whirl.
Tower Delta 47 Heavy is with you, unbound on 4 left.
Delta 47 Heavy, Kennedy Tower, 1040 at 6, runway 4 left, clear to land.
4 left, clear to land, Delta 47 Heavy.
And Delta 47 Heavy, climb maintain 2000 and fly present heading.
Delta 47 Heavy, 2000 and present heading, sorry about that.
Delta 47 Heavy, not a problem, just unable the reason for the missed approach.
Yeah, we got a indication that runway was too short, so we have to figure out what's going on now.
Delta 47 Heavy, roger, present heading up to 2000.
Present heading up to 2000.
Delta 47 Heavy, start the right turn heading 100.
Right turn 100, Delta 47 Heavy.
Delta 47 Heavy, contact 128.12 for the resequence.
2812, thank you.
I have to say, I'm pausing this for a moment. They were very, very pleasant here at John F. Kennedy International Airport Air Traffic Control. I mean, the whole thing is just pretty amazing.
Pretty chill.
Yeah.
And
pretty rare.
47 Heavy is looking on the go around level 2000. Right turn now 100.
Delta 47 Heavy, New approach, Kennedy altimeter 2982, maintain 2000.
Maintain 2000, thanks.
Delta 47 Heavy, turn right heading 200.
Right turn 200, Delta 47 Heavy.
Okay, they're vectoring him back around for another attempt.
Delta 47 Heavy, altimeter 2982. Looks like they just came out with special weather. Juliet, please check the special. And what runway do you need now? Is something about 4 left wasn't long enough?
Yeah, we had a indication in the cockpit that was telling us that it wasn't. We still need 4 left. That's the longest one we can take, longest one you guys have.
Yeah, I mean, if you really needed it, I guess we have 3-1 left, but you want to do 4 left?
Affirmative. Yeah, we'll try 4 left one more time. We got plenty of gas in case we need 3-1 left. Hopefully we won't.
Roger that.
Oh, yes, you will.
Okay, Delta 47 Heavy, you're going to climb into 3,000 here. Plan out with 4 left, flight heading 260.
260 and up to 3,000, Delta 47 Heavy.
Delta 47 Heavy, turn right 270.
270 now, Delta 47 Heavy.
This voice sounds familiar to me. I think I've flown with the guy.
Delta 47 Heavy, what's your airspeed?
Right now we're showing 220.
Roger that. Delta 47 Heavy, let us know if you need anything else. You can go to final now again on 32-4.
32-4, thank you, sir. We'll let you know. Hello, final Delta 47 Heavy is with you, leveling at 3,000, heading 270.
Delta 47 Heavy, roger. Delta 47 Heavy, speed 210.
210 on the speed, Delta 47 Heavy.
Delta 47 Heavy, turn right heading 310.
Right turn 310, Delta 47 Heavy.
Delta 47 Heavy, speed 170.
170 on the speed now, Delta 47 Heavy.
Delta 47 Heavy, make the speed 160.
160 on the speed now, Delta 47 Heavy.
Delta 47 Heavy, you're 8 miles from Crystal, turn right heading 010, 3,000 to establish on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 4 left approach.
Okay, maintain 3,000, right turn 010, maintain that until establish on the 4 left approach, Delta 47 Heavy.
Okay, now they're on final.
Delta 47 Heavy, Kennedy Tower, 19-1.
19-1, thanks for your help, Delta 47 Heavy.
No problem.
Hello, Tower, Delta 47 Heavy is with you, just inside over Roki for 4 left.
Delta 47 Heavy, Kennedy Tower, roger, you're following us 320, 4 miles ahead, you can begin reducing, wind 010 at 6, runway 4 left, clear to land.
4 left, clear to land, Delta 47 Heavy, thanks.
Okay, they're about to touch down. They're
and Delta 47
on the go.
Yeah, I see. Delta 47 Heavy, just fly present heading up to 2,000 again.
Okay, 2,000 and present heading, Delta 47 Heavy.
Delta 47 Heavy, same issue?
Same issue.
All right, Delta 47 Heavy, just stay with me for now. Just present heading at 2,000.
2,000 present heading, Delta 47 Heavy, thanks.
She's still nice.
Yeah.
Delta 47 Heavy, start the right turn, heading 100.
Okay, right turn now, 100, Delta 47 Heavy.
Delta 47 Heavy, contact 135.9er.
And 135.9er, thank you.
What are we going to do with this guy?
And Delta 47 Heavy is with you, level 2,000 for the same issue.
Delta 47 Heavy, understood. We're going to try 4 right today. How's it sound?
That won't work at all.
You don't think it will work at all?
No, unfortunately, we're getting an error in the cockpit telling us that 4 left is too short.
So you don't want to try 4 right at all, or?
Yeah, we're showing that 4 right is shorter, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Essentially.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking worst comes to worst, we might have to try 3 left. We're calling a company right now to find out what maintenance wants us to do.
All right, Delta 47 Heavy,
like
fly heading of 160, and let me know what you have of planned FP pole.
You got it. Thank you, sir. 160, Delta 47 Heavy.
All right, so they're flying around.
Delta 47 Heavy, speed your discretion to maintain 2,000, Kennedy altimeter 986.
Delta 47 Heavy, maintain 2,000.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was another pilot voice. They're running checklists, talking
And
with
approach
company.
Delta 47. Request slightly extended vectors so we got enough time to talk to maintenance here.
47 Heavy, understood. Fly this present heading, and I'll get that for you. If you'd like, I could get you 31 left. That's the longest, I think.
We're mostly looking at the winds. What are the current winds?
Current surface winds are 010 at 7.
So runway 4 would be the best for us right now, but we'll get back to you.
Understood, sir. Fly present heading, delay vector.
Present heading, Delta 47.
I think the...
And Delta 47 Heavy, I know you're on the phone here, but just so you know, winds seem to be shifting a little bit. 350 at 7.
Okay, I'm going to pause it again. The different voice there, I think, was because the original voice that we were hearing must have been the captain's voice, and the first officer was the pilot flying. And then I think the captain wanted to talk with maintenance on the other radio, so that's why we hear the other voice, which I believe is probably one of the first officer's voices. And it looks like the winds are now shifting a little bit more to the northwest, so that might have an impact on their decision making here.
Delta 47 copies. All right, Delta 47, we'd like to set up for runway 31 left if the winds are shifting more to the northwest.
Delta 47 Heavy, understood. Plan for runway 31 left. I'll get back to you on the approach.
Delta 47.
And Delta 47 Heavy, plan for ILS runway 31 left approach. Turn right turn, heading 220.
All right, copy. ILS runway 31 left right hand turn to 220 Delta 47.
And Delta 47 Heavy, sorry to keep bothering you, but are you ready for the approach at this moment, or do you need some more delaying vectors?
We need a few delay vectors, Delta 47, thanks.
47 Heavy, understood, just advise when you're ready. Delta 47 Heavy, contact approach on 128.12, 2812 to help you in. Just let them know when you're ready.
Delta 47, 128.12, thanks. And Delta 47 Heavy, 2,000 feet, heading 220.
Delta 47 Heavy, thanks. 47 Heavy, vector cross.
Plan to go across, Delta 47 Heavy.
Across the final.
Delta 47 Heavy, left turn 280, intercept 31 left localized.
280, intercept the 31 left localized, Delta 47 Heavy.
Delta 47 Heavy, you're 10 miles from Meals, maintain 2,000 to establish localizer, but also runway 31 left approach.
2,000 till Mills, clear for the approach, runway 3 left, Delta 31 left, Delta 47 Heavy.
2,000 to establish.
Sorry, and 2,000 till established.
And they're coming in, and...
Delta 47 Heavy, you're clear on 31 left approach. Hopefully this works for you now, and contact Kennedy Tower on 91, thanks.
91, thanks for all your help, Sergeant, Delta 47 Heavy.
Bye.
And they're coming in to 31 left.
Hello, Tower, Delta 47 Heavy is with you just outside of Zax for runway 31 left.
Delta 47 Heavy, Kennedy Tower, hello again. Wind 36 at 7, runway 31 left, clear to land.
Hello again, sorry about that. Clear to land, 31 left, Delta 47 Heavy.
They're building a relationship, aren't they?
They are. They're going
It's
to
a
be
third
dating.
date.
Delta 47 Heavy, traffic departs 4 left and traffic lands 4 right on a 2-mile final in Embraer.
Okay, we're looking for the traffic, Delta 47 Heavy.
And then it comes in, and then, oh, wouldn't you know it? They had to go around. No, actually, they didn't have to go around again.
Thank goodness.
They actually landed on 31 left.
What a kidder you
and
are.
that was it. Everybody lived happily ever after. Yeah. So I guess this is a system that is relatively new. That I don't know if it's Airbus that came up with it or another company in partnership with Airbus. I don't know. You know much about the system, Captain Nick? I know it wasn't in use on any of the airplanes, as far as I know, any of the airplanes that you were flying. But I think the 350 was one of the first ones to have the technology where there's some kind of a system that can, I don't know what kind of parameters it takes in, but it figures out whether or not the runway is going to be sufficiently long for takeoff or landing.
Yeah, I think the 380 actually has it.
Okay.
So that would have been before the 350.
Okay.
The 350 came with it. And they've retrofitted it to the 330s now. And probably it'll become a classic incident prevention system on all their aircraft. But it consists of two components. There's an airborne component, which is the ROW, the runway end overrun warning. And that kind of goes from 500 feet down to auto brake activation when you're on the runway. And it will shout at you that the runway is too short and gives you a chance to fly a bulk landing, do a go-around or fly a bulk landing. whichever is appropriate for where you happen to be when it happens. Once you're committed, you're on the ground and committed to stop, it'll give you the ROP, the Runway End Overrun Protection System, and that'll just shout at you to select, if you haven't already got it, max thrust reverse, and to select max braking. So on aircraft that do the clever brake to turn off, the aircraft is capable of judging how much braking you need to achieve a certain turn off. Then it'll just whack the brakes on pretty hard, I'm pretty sure, or you'll need to take over or select a higher brake setting on the auto brake system, depending on what you're doing with the aircraft. But they're both dynamic. They look at the aircraft's position in relation to the runway. They know the runway length. They know how much energy you've got. They know the wind from the inertials. They've got all the data. The aircraft's got all the data to calculate sort of in a live moment-by-moment calculation what runway you need to land and how much runway there is left. And it just, shouts all these warnings at you and gives you prompts to take action if you're not using the aircraft's full capability to stop. So it's a very clever system. As an aside, it comes along with can come along with various other landing surveillance and monitoring functions. Like it will warn you if you're lining up on a taxiway instead of the runway. It does a whole bunch of other things as well. It's got an approach stabilized monitor. It's got altimeter setting monitors, so it can pick up the kind of relatively common errors that people make when they line up on the wrong bit of the airfield. They forget to set the right pressure settings on the altimeters, that sort of thing. But with regards to this particular incident, they've got the longest runway. There's absolutely no reason why the aircraft can't land. They obviously thought there was nothing much wrong with their approach because they weren't hugely fast, and I suspect because you can tell by their voices that they're going, well, there's something wrong with the damned airplane because that looked fine to us. And in fact, of course, I guess you can just do your own calculations and go, well, we'll ignore it or we'll turn it off. But they made two approaches, and in both cases, it told them to go around. I reckon that there's a database error here. So if in loading the system, someone's made a mistake on the runway length for this particular runway, then the aircraft will not know how long the runway is, and if there's an error, it makes the runway appear shorter than it is. We won't know. We can't see the runway. It's only a calculation. Someone puts the wrong data in, then it'll make a mistake in its calculation. They're selecting landing on 3-1. Well, it's actually not huge. It's quite close to 4 left's length, but there's a very long display threshold, which, of course, once you're good and visual, you can kind of cheat a little bit, land short of the threshold if you want to, and that's captain's discretion. He's got an issue with the aircraft of safety issues, so he could elect to do that, I guess, without incurring any comeback from the FAA. So he could even want almost use the full runway length, but no, it obviously let him land the second time. I suspect he could have landed on 4 right, because the aircraft doesn't actually need a huge runway length. It said it didn't need full runway length of 4 left.
It's funny, if it was a database error when he came, if, the one controller was like, well, do you want to try 4 right? And they're like, well, no, we need a longer runway. But if it was just a database error, 4 right might have been perfectly fine.
Perfectly sufficient.
It might well have been perfectly fine, because I've landed on both those runways in the 340, which probably has a longer landing distance than the A330. Well, it does, I know.
So I'm not sure that you would know the answer to this, but I'm wondering how much interaction or user input is involved in this, or does it use strictly the information from some kind of a built-in database, and there is nothing that has to be input by the pilots, the humans, that was inadvertently or incorrectly entered, and to cause
that's a good
the
question. I don't know whether it takes the runway from the box that you've typed in. Right, I'm going to land. I'm going to do an ILS on 24 left. I don't know whether it takes the information you've typed into the McDo to make the calculations, or whether it automatically recognizes just from the aircraft's position and what's ahead of it, what runway it is being asked to land on. So I don't know that.
I would imagine it was probably the latter, and like the enhanced ground proximity warning system, it has a database, and it's interesting that sometimes you'll fly into an airport where they have like a brand new runway and they haven't updated the EEGBWS database, and the procedure in that case is to like take that component of the system off so that it doesn't start screaming at you when you're trying to land, thinking you're not landing on a runway. So I'm wondering if that's the same kind of deal with this thing, where it just knows where you are and knows there's a runway there and should know how long the runway is. And apparently maybe there was just some
that's
bad
a question Stefan should be
Yeah.
able to answer for us. So if you're listening, Stefan, if you come back to us with a bit of feedback, that'd be very nice.
We did invite Stefan to join us today, but he's on a little bit of a trip. Looks like a nice little short vacation kind of thing going on. He can correct us, but he did mention that he was sorry that he couldn't make it today, but perhaps on the next episode he could join us.
For information. He didn't want to.
Yeah, he must have known. Well, he either thought that we were going to ask him information specifically about this, Liz, or maybe he thought we were going to be talking about World War I and World War II.
As we usually do when he's on.
Which is what usually happens when he's on. We don't plan it that
end up
way.
talking about the war.
It's just usually when we're in the midst of it, we go, oh, yeah, we probably shouldn't have been talking about this. Anyway, next one here. Oh, we have, this is the contractual obligation that we have
fulfilled it.
that Liz has entered into with Paddle Your Own Canoe. Yep. Okay. So pilots with beards? New study says it's totally safe, busting long-held oxygen mask myth. Now, before I start reading this, I know that Nick will have plenty to say about this, because I don't believe that you ever shaved your beard when you were actively flying for Virgin Atlantic Airways, right? And
No, once I got through the interviews,
yeah,
grew it.
yeah. But I mean, actively flying the line with
I
beard.
flew with a beard. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, there have been places around this world that have come to this conclusion. Now, Air Canada, a little bit later, our Canadian regulatory authority allowed it a few years back. In fact, we covered it on our show, and we were saying, okay, come on, FAA, let's do something about this. Obviously, it's not a big deal. So a new study has just shattered the myth that pilots can't have beards because their oxygen masks wouldn't work properly. There's a growing chance that more pilots could be allowed to sport facial hair after a new study by a leading aeronautical university debunked the widespread theory that beards could wreck the effectiveness of special tight-fitting oxygen masks. The study, appropriately called, quote, Beard Length and the Efficacy of an Aviator Oxygen Mask, was published earlier this month in the Journal of Aerospace Medicine and Human Performance following an investigation by researchers at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. The researchers wanted to put the theory to the test by putting human guinea pigs. Well, I didn't know there were human guinea pigs. I just thought they were little tiny rodents.
Well, they'd be perfect because of all the fur on their faces.
Ah. They just had teeny, teeny, tiny little masks.
Teeny, tiny, yes. Exactly.
Specific research species. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We have those.
Anyway, they put them in a
Someone
hypoxia.
obviously had to shave some of the guinea pigs for the control. So that must have been difficult.
Yeah.
I think that's your show artwork.
Oh boy, it's got to have a guinea pig in there
Try to figure
somewhere.
out how to get the
yes,
guinea
please.
pig
Yes,
at a barber shop
I could
So,
do that.
for a shave.
So they put humans in a hypoxia chamber, actually, to see whether facial hair would interfere with quick donning pilot oxygen systems designed to create an airtight seal around the pilot's face. Okay, and then it goes into, now we know this, everybody that listens to our show understands the difference between the oxygen masks that the pilot crew dons and the kind of masks that drop down from the passenger service units above you if you have a rapid depressurization event, because those are not meant to seal around your face. They're just there to provide. Oh boy, gosh darn it! I accidentally used the word, and
You activated the.
I know I did. I should have known better. Anyway, but for us, it's much more important that we get a good seal, not only for the oxygen flowing in, but also in the case of like a fire smoke kind of a situation where there's much more of a chance that that the oxygen could fuel the fire. So have to be sure that the system has a very, very tight seal. And turns out that let's see, they put 24 volunteers in a hypoxia chamber to mimic the effects of decompression while flying at 30,000 feet, and tested 3 different beard conditions: clean shave, short beards, and long beards, more than 10 millimeters in length. Now, Captain Nick, show your face. How long exactly is your beard? Is it 10 millimeters or?
At the moment, it's about it's just over a centimeter, I'd say.
Okay, which would be 10 millimeters, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
10,
base
11, 12 millimeters, something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. So that you're
I grow it out to about 2 or 3 centimeters.
Yeah.
About an inch before I shave it back a little bit tighter than that.
Okay. Well, Captain Nick is a great representation of that third group, the longer beards, longer beard length. Volunteers with the beards took no more time to don the oxygen masks than the clean-shaven participants. I wouldn't think that would have been even a question. I mean, why would it take you any longer? And
All those long beard hairs getting caught up in the.
Ow! And researchers found no difference in the arterial saturation percent of oxygen between any of the volunteers during the decompression-like conditions. Let's see. Flight deck oxygen systems are also designed to protect pilots from the effects of smoke or noxious fumes. So researchers then exposed the volunteers to highly volatile smelling salts while wearing the masks. None of the participants were, however, able to detect a smell.
So they
while
don them when
mask.
the other guy farts, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's definitely a use for the oxygen system, Liz. And if there's some kind of noxious, toxic gas emitted by any of the other crew members in the cockpit.
We just opened the door.
Well, we can't do that. But you can. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yes. In a discussion of the results, the researchers concluded these results support the contention that airline pilots with beards of any length would not be. What if they had like 3 feet long beards? I mean, I would think that would impact it, but I don't know.
What about like some dreads going on?
Yeah. So I guess they didn't kind of test all those possibilities, but normal beards, I think, will work just fine. So will the airlines finally let pilots fly with beards? And they're talking, I guess, specifically about the North American pilots, and they said, well, that Air Canada commissioned its own research into the issue back in 2016, and then they finally dropped their prohibition on pilots having facial hair because they had the same kind of results that this study had. In the United States, the FAA has no issue with pilots having beards. Well, I thought it was an FAA thing, but I guess not. Major carriers, including American, Delta, United, do not allow their pilots to have facial hair. So it's the actual airlines themselves that prohibit it.
That's not true. You had facial hair.
So that's
beards
a
are fine,
grooming
though.
issue.
Or I'm sorry, mustaches are fine. Not beards,
mustaches
though.
are, I guess, are authorized facial hair, not the.
I feel like I see a lot more mustaches these days too on airline pilots, especially the younger set.
It's because they make the best pilots. I mean, we've said that many times on the show.
Indeed.
Yeah. And that includes the female pilots as well.
The moustache is
I need to.
The moustache is only part of what makes you a good pilot, Jeff. You need the full set to be the best pilot.
Well, I mean, that's
You've
debatable.
only got like 1/3 of it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I can always hope for being better in the future at some point. Although I did try to grow a beard at one point, and I gave up.
The fact you're not flying, it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, now that I'm not actually a real airline pilot anymore, it doesn't matter. So
no, exactly right.
Yeah.
The Royal Navy have allowed pilots, their fighter pilots, to fly with a full set, a full beard, and have done for years and years and years because that's it's permitted in the Royal Navy, and their guys never had any problems. I did hear of a French pilot who used to wax his moustache a great deal. And he actually, because wax, oils, and oxygen will self-combust. And he actually got third-degree burns of his face when his moustache caught fire because he was breathing pure oxygen.
we were taught, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, Captain Nick, if this is the case with your experience, when I was flying jets like the trainers, we wore the oxygen masks the whole time we were flying. They warned us to not use chapstick for that same reason. That it's
right. No, I hadn't heard
flammable.
that one. Wow. No, I hadn't heard that one. But I can see why.
Yeah.
I mean, that's oil and oxygen are a bad mix. But the Royal Air Force allowed the growing of beards a year or two ago. So they obviously came to the similar conclusion that it wouldn't affect the oxygen mask that their pilots wore. So I think it's very much a fashion thing. So young men, there's a whole raft of young men who like to have beards, and I don't see why that should be a problem.
Oh, by the way, getting back to the chapstick on the lips thing, that's actually, interestingly, how the character in the MASH series, Hot Lips, got her nickname, because she was wearing... just kidding.
And then breathing oxygen.
I'm sorry. All right,
I thought it referred to something else.
No, it didn't. It had all to do with oxygen masks and...
Oh, okay, fair enough.
All right, let's move this along.
Let's move it along before we get in any more trouble, and let's get to know us.
Starts sending us letters.
Getting to know us. It's the segment of the show.
Too late.
Too late? Oh, darn. Where we get to go, and talk to HR. No, where we get to know what we have been up to between shows. And I know we're going to start with Steph because I know she's been very busy. In fact, so busy that she couldn't join us on the last episode. And why is that?
I missed you guys on the last episode because I was planning to be here until about 1:30 that morning because you recorded on Saturday, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah. And see, you can't see in the background, but both of my small dogs are like passed out on the floor back here. But typically in the middle of the night, one of them will have to get up to go outside. And I don't know why that is. I give them plenty of time before we go to bed. Seems like one or the other will have to relieve themselves around,
Well, they might.
Do they decide a roster beforehand? Which one's going to have
it's never the same one,
you up?
And it never alternates exactly, but one of them will every time. I don't know. It's a thing. So it was about 1:30 in the morning. One of them, I don't remember which one anymore, had to go outside. So fine, get up, let them out, do their thing, come back in, go to lay back down, and notice that I have a text message. I was like, oh, that's weird. And it literally just come through from one of my coworkers, a fellow jumper dumper, said, kind of a queasy feeling in their stomach from the night before. Wasn't sure if it was something they ate. Wanted to know if anyone was paying attention to text messages last minute, could cover in the morning. And I was awake and I was like, I don't know if anyone else is actually going to see this text at 1:30 in the morning. So I said, sure, I'll be there. So I,
Steph is such a trooper.
Down and I know.
You're
and
a team player.
Ended up not doing a ton of flying though, because I looked at the weather. The weather was supposed to be beautiful. The weather when I woke up was overcast at like 700 feet, which is not very conducive to jumping out of airplanes.
Low altitude drops.
I don't think the weather's going to stop you, but
very low altitude. Well, it's not going to stop you. I mean, the clouds aren't going to stop you. They're not a hard barrier, but you know, if you want to do any sort of accurate spotting and make sure you're landing in the correct place, it's not ideal.
No.
Yeah. And then it did end up clearing up, and then got a couple of loads up, and then it got windy after that. So, and the wind was in the forecast, so we were thinking it was only going to be a morning thing anyway. But I was there for a little while, and then the pilot who needed someone to get the day started, I guess was feeling better at some point in the evening, slept for a decent number of hours, and came down and finished out the day. But mostly they sat around a bunch too, because we didn't do a ton. So, but I ended up missing the show for that. I'm sorry.
Missed you.
Wah.
I missed you guys.
Yeah, we
but,
did miss you.
But you did something else that
Yeah,
weekend.
you've been busy doing other things as well, I think.
Yeah, I I was up in Boston after that. So actually it was later that same evening. Caught a flight up there, and then I was not running the marathon this past Monday, which is what was happening in Boston. I'm sure a lot of people do know that. But the running team that I run with my coach had almost 50 athletes participating in the race this year. And I know probably over half of them personally at this point. So I just thought it would be fun to go up and have the day and spectate and enjoy the race. So got up there for Sunday morning, there's always a group shakeout run. So joined them for that. We go to coffee afterwards. I should have been paying attention. I should have gone to the Red Sox game on Sunday, because I didn't really have a ton else to do in the afternoon. But I messed that up and didn't do that. And then actually ended up watching the race with one of my very best friends who lives in the New Hampshire area. She came down to watch a few of her friends run, and we caught up a little bit, and then I came back. And it's just been back to work. So yeah, it's been fun.
What
that was how I
happened
spent
today?
Easter weekend.
What happened today?
Oh, today. Yeah, gosh. Today was not as enjoyable of a day. Actually, it started off great. I actually did not have a very busy day at work, so that's why I said, if we could make it work out, I could get here for. And actually, I'm checking my phone right now because I just got a message, but it's okay. It's not what I was waiting for. Thought I would be here in plenty of time to at least join for most of the show, which actually did end up happening, so that's good. But I had a little extra time this morning, and I was like, great, I'm finally going to get the oil changed on my car because I've been putting that off for too long. And as I was pulling in, I went to work out this morning, swam, came home, got ready. Still pretty early. They open at like 7:30, so I was there like at 7:15 waiting for them to open. And as I pull into the service bay, one of the warning lights comes up and says low tire pressure, and I went, oh, well, that's odd, but also good timing. So I got out of the car, and the guy says, why are you here? I was like, well, I'm here for an oil change, but you go find out why the right rear tire says low pressure. Literally just came on, walked around and found this, looks like a very large staple, like you would see in like a pallet or like a large cardboard box or something, just jammed into the tire. So, and then, so they're like, well, gosh, do you want us to plug that now? I was like, I really only have time for the oil change. I actually do have to go to work. He's like, no problem. You can bring it back any other time, that's in a spot where it's possible to just do a patch or a plug for it. It's like, great. And then I drove to work, and then I found another similar staple in another tire, which fortunately was not leaking air. And so on the way back home today, I just dropped the car off to get the tires repaired because I don't have a spare at the moment, because the spare is taking the place of the tire that was actually leaking air, and the other one's got a nail staple, something wedged in it. So didn't think that was a great idea.
What a day.
Need to stop driving
now
around
I'm
places
waiting
where
on a
staples
call.
are.
I'm waiting on a call to go pick my Jeep back up from the dealer. So, I need to stop doing that. That's for sure.
Were you buying office supplies like at Staples?
No, I had two different thoughts. One was on my way to work out at the pool this morning. I drove through. They were doing quite a lot of construction very early. And I was like, well, maybe I just drove through some debris. But now that I think more about it, I think it happened yesterday on my way home from work. There was kind of just a bunch of debris that I couldn't identify on the interstate, and I couldn't maneuver around it because of cars that were next to me, on the side of me, behind me. And it didn't look like a ton of stuff. I just kind of went through it. So I think it was that.
Sounds like an unpalatable situation.
So yeah, that's been my day. And then I think I mentioned the computer issues already. So
yeah.
And then I was worried. I was like, well, now I got to I definitely have to drop the car back off. I can't not do that. I can't keep driving it around with 2 tires potentially out of commission. That's not going to work. So.
It's a rough ride when you don't have the rubber on the rim.
Yeah, exactly. Well, fortunately, the one it was not actually losing any air. I do appreciate modern technology in cars that gives you real-time tire pressure. So I can just pull that up on the screen and see it.
Usually the case, it's like the TPMS is just giving you a bad indication. But
well, usually,
in this case,
and I thought that's maybe what it was. Yeah. No, this was real indication. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Steph. Glad you could make it with us today. Captain Nick, have you done anything between shows?
No. I've actually been feeling very well. I had to have an inoculation. A shingle, my second half of the shingles jabs, and that one has made me feel a bit crook.
Shingles doesn't care.
Yeah, it's still sore, and that was a couple of days ago, but I've just been fluey and tired and feeling a bit grim, but I'm sure I'll get over that. I certainly got over it enough to take a picture of Rugger. Now, I've got a couple of dogs. The smooth Wiesler called Zeta, and this is our old boy. Rugger turned 12 years old.
12 years
today. Yeah, he's 12 now. So
nice.
Yeah, I know. He looks great up there in the garden amongst the spring flowers. So he's a lovely old fella, and he's getting a bit deaf and a bit blind. So but we're looking after him and making sure. Yes.
What'd you say?
Making sure. Huh? He has to take a run up the stairs now to get up it.
Sweet.
Oh dear. So
I think
anyway,
the last time I was at your
12.
place, I had to do the same thing. Yeah.
I don't blame you. But apart from that, no, there's nothing else really happening. The bowling season has started.
Oh, good.
But I haven't gone to the club yet. But, it only started a few days ago because the weather we've had a few rainy days. So, and I've been a bit busy. But I shall certainly be getting up there and starting playing. Yes, cover art. Thanks, Liz. APG 659. We had some great suggestions. Gun with a license. Bonanza open door policy, over Boston Tea Party and home to the chickens. But the one that I liked was pilot vibe for a cool pilot. So there we have got what we think is an extremely cool pilot. So cool pilot vibe was the title, in kind of cool blue to start for the cool bit and turning hot.
Yes,
we like that. So I secreted the show number on our Cool Pilots T-shirt there, and it's sort of at right angles to its normal orientation. So you'd have to have a close look to see that 659.
That's not a hardship.
And then the logo. Yeah, and then the logo was up where a Ray-Ban logo would
Super
go
tiny
on her sunglasses. So I would really like to have a pair of APG pilots glasses
wouldn't that be
with
nice?
an APG. Wouldn't that be cool? Yes.
Ray-Ban, if you're out there,
Yeah, help us out, Ray-Ban. Fix that for us. So that was the artwork. It was a quick and cheerful one because I was very short of time, sadly. But got it done now.
Great job.
And,
Thank you for...
looking forward to some suggestions for this week.
Got some
please.
good ones, I think.
Yeah.
Good.
Going to have to do something with a guinea pig,
at
I'm
the
sure.
barbershop.
With
Yeah.
oxygen
Yeah, I know.
masks.
Yes, guinea pigs.
I'm not sure what could be
yes.
better than that.
I think we definitely can have some guinea pigs.
Oh, okay. Liz seems to think that she has a better idea.
I got a contender.
She's got a contender.
Okay.
All right. And for myself, again, just of course this past weekend, so that was Saturday we recorded the show. Later that evening, later that day, in early evening, I was at the church again for the biggest Mass of the year, the Easter Vigil Mass. So I don't know if I mentioned it on the show, but I had a little bit of a scratchy throat that day, and it got worse in the afternoon. And I'm thinking, I should be okay. I can still talk and I can still sing.
A lot of pollen around, right?
A lot of pollen here, and the pollen that gets me is not the stuff that's over all the cars, all the yellow stuff that you see, because that's the pine pollen, and that's so big. I think it just doesn't bother me. It does bother some people, but for me, the stuff that comes after the pine trees do all their stuff, some of the other trees and the grasses, it's a very...
I had issue with something last week too, like not the yellow stuff, but very similar.
Yeah.
It was like, I
it's
was fine until...
a much smaller little pollen particle, and whatever it is, it just usually gets to me.
You need to wear one of those masks around, like in the cockpit.
Wear a mask around. No, that's all right. Sang a lot on the Easter Vigil Mass. And then the next day I got up in the morning and I had a really sore throat. And I'm thinking, okay, let me see if I can make any sound. And I tried to talk and sing a little bit. And I went, oh, yeah, this is not going to work, because I was supposed to be attending 3 masses on Sunday morning, and I had to call up my director, Jane, and say, I'm sorry. And, she could hear that my voice was not immediately. She goes, okay, don't worry about coming in. And, if you feel a little bit better in one of the later masses, then come in, but, don't worry about it. And I didn't go
You had a nice
at all
get-together
on
with
Easter
them in
Sunday.
the afternoon.
Yeah, and then the afternoon, because Jane and her husband Chuck and the entire family have kind of adopted me into their family, which is wonderful. They invited me to, and they didn't do any kind of a big production, like making all kinds of stuff, because everybody is so involved with the with music and the music ministry at the church that just had no time at all to make anything for an proper Easter dinner. So they met at Ted Turner's Montana Grill. It's a chain restaurant, and Ted Turner is the owner and proprietor. Yeah, I've never been to one, and I had a nice salad, trying to be good, and it was very tasty, very good. And so it was nice meeting up with the Jacksons, and that was and by that point I could actually have, my voice was almost, not completely, but mostly recovered. And so I could talk and stuff. So, and that was Sunday. And then it's been kind of lay low. I was still kind of feeling the effects of and taking a lot of medication, because what happens with me is this stuff in my head that gets down in my chest. And then that can be a dangerous thing, especially for an elder person like me. So I started taking some Mucinex DM, the stuff that's supposed to help with the chest congestion. I still have some. You may have heard it already. I'm hopefully going to have all this cut out of the audio only podcast, so you don't hear. Well, I'm not going to cut my lungs out, but I'm going to cut the sounds that my lungs are making. A little bit of wheeziness there and coughing and stuff, but I'm hopefully in the latter stages, because tomorrow I'm going to be singing a lot again. 2 funerals, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and then a special prayer service for the remembrance and prayers for our recently departed Pope, Pope Francis. It's going to be tomorrow evening. And then more singing on Saturday, and then lots of singing on Sunday as well. So it's going to be another jam-packed weekend of singing, which is wonderful. I enjoy singing so much. So that's pretty much just singing for me, and
Quick coffee fund and then some feedback?
Quick coffee fund. Well, okay, let's talk about the coffee fund and sing about it.
Johnny, how much more coffee?
No thanks.
love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Okay, not 100% yet, but yeah, the Coffee Fund. It's your way to support us financially if you have the resources to do so. A couple of different ways to do that. One is the Coffee Fund Classic method, which is essentially, most people use it for like a one-off, two-off, whatever, every now and then contribution to the show. And there are a handful of people that use it as a recurring donation method as well. And we do appreciate all of you for that and your generosity. And then we didn't have any contributors between this show and the last. And we don't have any new patrons either, but that's another way you can become part of the Coffee Bar Club. You can be a patron of the show using patreon.com. And you basically pledge a certain amount per episode. And then, yeah, you're charged at the end of the month. I think that's the way it works. Anyway, it gives you a good feeling to support us financially and keep doing what we're doing and motivate us and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in joining us in the Coffee Bar Club, please head over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. You'll be glad you did, and we will too.
Captain, incoming message.
Thank you. All right. This first one from Kevin in Comox, BC. What is it called? Vancouver Island, I believe.
Correct.
Let's see. Wings. Okay, so he has an update. He's giving us information on the Martin Mars.
He's our Martin Mars correspondent.
Water bombers. Yeah, he's our local correspondent for Martin Mars. He sent us a photo of this Martin Mars with the wings removed for transport to a nearby museum in Arizona. It flew from Vancouver Island to here, which we covered in an earlier episode.
We did.
So he's just giving us an update on.
I think they took off more than just the wings. There's no engines, no fin,
tail.
no tailplane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it is missing.
I hope they put them back.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're just going to display it like that in the museum.
Yeah.
I hope they'll put it back together.
If they were being delivered by Canadian mail service, they may never arrive.
That's so true.
Ouch.
Yes, ouch.
That's so true.
All right. Well, thank you for the update, Kevin. We do appreciate that. He was a recent contributor using the Coffee Fund Classic method, and we do appreciate that, Kevin. But it's not a requirement for us to read your feedback.
No.
If you send in feedback, don't think you have to send us money. It's nice, but you don't have
But I will
to.
accept money.
But Liz says she will accept money in personal favors.
Yeah.
All right. This next one is from Steve, and the title of his feedback is Introduction. Hi, Captain Jeff and the crew. I thought I should introduce myself properly. I've been listening to the show for just over a year and have sent in some feedback in the past. Lovely the reply from Captain Nick about my smell still being on the Virgin 340 he took to Hong Kong. Yeah, he's nice in that way, isn't it? Yeah.
It was a very pleasant smell, I'm sure.
It was a pleasant smell. But I don't think you mentioned that part of
No.
your observation in the episode when you exclaimed that. Anyway, getting back with Steve here. I'm coming up to retirement at the end of April and live in Warfield Park, Berkshire in the UK. Hey, he spelled that phonetically out I didn't do it exactly right. He says Berkshire. Really? Berkshire? Not Berkshire?
Berkshire.
Okay.
No, it's not Berk. No.
It's bark.
Oh, okay. Well, I still screwed it up.
Bark is worse than your bite.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I started my working career as an apprentice. I started my working career as an apprentice and then as a junior design engineer in the aircraft industry, working on Tornado, Harrier, Jaguar, Concorde, and the BAE 146. That high-wing, four-engine regional kind of airplane, which I've actually ridden in as a passenger. Interesting. And it makes
I've sat in the flight deck and flown it. In fact, I did a stall.
The BAE 146?
Yeah, I was up at Hatfield doing some Hawk stuff.
Oh,
and,
when you were doing the test work for...
Well, this was... I'm trying to remember what exactly it was, but we were doing some photography, airwear photography. And as a thank you, they said, well, we're going to do a test flight. Do you want to come along? So I got to fly it. And we were doing stalls and all sorts of things.
I have a question. This airplane has an unusual characteristic that maybe several, but the one that I'm thinking of is when you're sitting back around the wing area, and I'm imagining that maybe you could hear it up in the cockpit as well. When you're extending the flaps, and I don't know if it's like the latter portion of the flap extension or at what point it happens, but it changes the flow of air such that it makes a really weird sound. I mean, it's like it's an acoustic sound created by the flow of air around the flaps, almost like taking that candy that you buy at the movie theater, and then once it's empty, you blow into the end of it and make that horrible sound with the you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So if you're not expecting to hear something like that, especially a pilot who is kind of keen to hear things happening and, listening to various sounds and making sure everything's okay, and then you hear this horrible sound, it gets your attention. I looked around and nobody else seemed to be concerned about it, so I thought, okay, maybe I shouldn't be either.
Kind of an eerie sound?
Yeah, it's kind of it's like a...
Yeah.
That's hard to describe. But is that something that you heard or recall at all, Captain?
No, I'm afraid not. No, the only thing I remember is that the balance of the controls was completely cockeyed. So normally you have, if you take hold of the controls, you would have a difference in force to move them of 1 to 2 to 4, in that roll would be 1, pitch would be twice as hard, 2, and rudders would be 4 times as hard. And that was considered the ideal ratio of, tension or pressure on the controls required to move them. And the 146 was incredibly light in pitch on the control column and incredibly heavy in roll. And I was going, it's really hard to actually control this because you tend to porpoise in pitch, and while you're trying to crank the bank on, you any slight movement, your muscles are tense trying to bank the damn thing, and any slight twitching in pitch, and the airplane was leaping up and down. So I didn't find it a particularly nice airplane to fly.
Huh. Sounds like you have
If there's any 146 pilots out there, you can tell me if they ever fixed that. But this was a fairly early production.
Sounds like you have to have a definite technique in flying the thing smoothly, huh?
Yeah.
Neil says, I flew back to Birmingham from Brussels in a 146. I don't remember that noise, but it was extremely cramped when full in the cabin. I don't know. Maybe my recollection is wrong, but I definitely... Maybe it's only...
It wasn't coming from the toilet.
Yeah, that might have been it. Yeah. I think that maybe it's only when they put it out, like maybe the full extension, and maybe they don't always put it out all the way, maybe to avoid that horrible noise. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back with Steve's feedback here. I then went on to work on laboratory equipment and have designed and made equipment fundamental in the quick diagnosis of HIV and contributing to the breakthroughs now being made in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Wow.
Fantastic.
That's great work. Most recently working...
since both Jeff and I will need Alzheimer's medication before long.
Steve, keep in touch with us because
if
you start...
Steve, you can't retire. I'm sorry. You're going to have to keep working.
You have to and monitor us closely. Hopefully watch the video and see if there are any early signs.
Or late signs.
Or late signs,
case.
Shut up. Okay. Anyway, most recently working in the defense industry. As I'm coming up to retirement, if there's any small tasks I can help out with, well, we just mentioned you need to monitor us for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. My mom had Parkinson's. He said he'd be happy to help. Thank you, Steve. Hoping to get a meetup sometime. Would also like to get to one of Captain Nick's talks. If there's one open to non-members of the various societies. Keep the blue side up. Kindest regards, Steve.
That's lovely feedback. I love it.
Yeah, very
That's great.
From Berkshire.
By the way, most of the societies I go and speak to are very happy, even for just a nominal fee for non-members to arrive, and of course they want to recruit you. But I've always asked. But if you let me know if you want to come to one, I can double check. And of course, I'm sitting around doing nothing. I'm retired, Bill. So if you want to come down and have a beer, I'd be more than happy to, take you to my local, or I'll drive out somewhere and go find you. Nice country
And then
pub.
Steve, send us a confidential report about your assessment of Nick.
Yeah, Steve. After you meet with Captain
Hopefully
Nick,
he'll have
give us a
slipped
call.
me some medication, to put in my beer.
That might be helpful.
Okay, next.
Okay, next. Thank you, Steve. We got some video from Ernest involving something that happened at Bananaville, Nashville, BNA. And Liz included this cute little comment. The latest in our sometime APG series, Wildlife on Runways. And this is something that happened in, as I said, at Nashville. So I'm just going to go ahead and hopefully get this movie to play, this video.
Here we go.
Okay, it's so what we're seeing here is some wildlife. It's a coyote.
Where's the Roadrunner? Where's the Roadrunner?
Yeah, we need the Roadrunner, or maybe the coyote is looking for the Roadrunner. Can't seem to keep track of it. He's going to check over here on the side of the runway, and he's kind of looking at whoever's taking the video right now is looking like, why do you keep chasing me?
Why are you
Get away
chasing
from
me away?
Yeah.
I was perfectly positioned right there on that piece of pavement to see everything I need to see.
You see, that's definitely Nashville. Nashville is not, and we've mentioned this on the show before, and I think that I'd asked Steph if she noticed, but she was paying attention to other things. But it's very, very hilly and lots of undulating taxiways and runways, and then not far from these hard surfaces are big drop-offs, as we just saw the Coyote go down into one of the hollows. I think that's what they call them in Tennessee.
Hollers.
Yeah, that's it. I can't see anything.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm
sorry. There you are. Thank you, Ernest, for sending. Oh, and let me read a little bit about that. A wild coyote got its moment of fame holding up flights at the Nashville International Airport. Our Sky 5 team, I guess
Sky
the
5
news helicopter, Sky 5, assisted BNA on getting the coyote off the runway. Coyotes have been digging under the fence of the airport hunting rabbits. Ooh. While chasing the coyote off the runway, we were able to capture some grab shots and clips of the coyote, and that's from the News Channel 5 Sky 5 team helicopter. Very cool.
Sounds like Ron Burgundy's newsroom there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Here's some other helicopter feedback from whom?
Oh,
sorry. Sir Peter of Kent, looks like.
Yes, Sir Peter.
South African R-44 crashed during liftoff after unsecured penguin fell on the controls. That happens all the time. Let's see. According to Sir Peter of Kent, the pilot should have tried to pick up the penguin.
There it is. That's why.
I see. Pick up a penguin. That must be some kind of a advertising campaign in the UK. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
A penguin has been a chocolate bar, a chocolate biscuit in the UK for many, many, many years. And Pick Up a Penguin was a very common advert that they used to use.
Well, I did a pretty good job of it not ever having heard that. I just
But there's the real penguin. There's the real one that caused the problem.
Oh, we have now a picture in the video and also in the show notes of the real penguin in a box. So
what is that, a rock hopper?
I don't know my penguins well enough to know.
The type of penguin, you mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
because it's in South Africa, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yes.
It's quite a warm country for a penguin.
Yeah, but they're pretty close to Antarctica, so I think they come up.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, South African investigators have determined that the pilot of a Robinson R-44 did not assess the risk of transporting a live penguin in the cockpit before the aircraft crashed just after liftoff. None of the 5 occupants, a pilot, 3 passengers, and the penguin, was injured during the 19 January accident, but the helicopter was substantially damaged, which we just Liz showed a picture of on the video. Yeah, I'd say. It had flown to Bird Island, how appropriate, off the Eastern Cape in order for a specialist to carry out an aerial survey. After the survey was completed, the R-44 landed on the island, and the specialist requested to transport a penguin back to Port Elizabeth's Sturman Airport. According to the South African Civil Aviation Authority inquiry, the pilot agreed to the request, and the penguin was placed in a cardboard box with several holes punched into it so it could breathe. The pilot conducted a risk assessment of the flight, it adds. However, he omitted to include the carriage of the penguin on board. Investigators found a risk assessment for penguin transport had not been carried out. It states that the passenger on the left front seat placed the box containing the penguin on his lap and secured it with his hands. After the pilot started the engine and advanced power to 103 RPM, the helicopter lifted off. But while transitioning about 15 meters, about 50 feet above the ground, the cardboard box slid off to the right and dropped onto the cyclic pitch control lever. Whoa.
Uh-oh.
As a result, the cyclic pitch control lever advanced to the far right position. The helicopter rolled to the right, and the pilot could not recover timelessly. What? That is a word.
Timeously. I don't think I've ever seen that word before.
That is not a real word. Maybe they could not recover in a timely manner, perhaps? Yeah, I don't think that's a real word.
It's a word.
Well, it is a word. It's just not a good one.
Yeah. I don't know. It's in the Cambridge English Dictionary.
Is it?
Timelessly.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the definition? We're acting in a timely manner?
Doing something at the right time or in a timely manner, especially quickly or before the deadline, primarily used in Scottish English.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Oh, what was that?
Pardon
I don't know.
I couldn't click quite fast enough.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, Scottish English doesn't count.
Yeah.
It sounded like some kind of a robot sound. What was that?
That was me sneezing.
Oh.
Just overmodulated.
Okay. Let's see. After the penguin box slipped onto the pilot's controls, the helicopter rolled and, okay, that's must be the caption. Its main rotor blades struck the ground and the helicopter came to a rest on its starboard side, badly damaged. None of the occupants was injured. We already talked about that. Transport of the penguin in the cardboard box was not conducted in accordance with civil aviation regulations governing helicopter flight operations. Absence of a proper crate, was for the penguin was unsuitable, creating a dangerous situation and an evaluation of potential hazards. So I think they had the penguin to slap him in the face with its wings.
Yeah.
By the way, it is actually called a Jackass penguin or a Jackass penguin.
I love it.
Really? Okay.
Yes. So I'm just correcting myself there so that we maintain 50%.
The official animal of APG is the Jackass penguin. Don't you think?
I like it. Yeah,
I like it.
They made a Jackass of that pilot, didn't
Yeah, it's
it?
our mascot.
Yeah, but there's another podcast that really talks a lot about penguins, and I think they might.
Yeah, but we have the Jackass penguin.
But we have the Well, that's appropriate. I think they'd be happy for us to be the Jackass penguin podcast.
They're also known as the Cape penguins or the African penguin.
Okay.
Oh, ooh, I like caped.
And I've been to the Boulders Beach penguin colony near Simonstown in South Africa, and they are the most gorgeous little penguins, and they're dozens and dozens of them there.
So he looks so sweet and innocent.
Isn't the internet amazing, Captain Nick?
Yeah.
The penguin looks confused.
Okay. Let's keep going, shall we?
Keep it moving.
Knock out a couple more and then we'll
please.
call it a day. All right. This from Logan. Logan Lynch.
Yes, he was in the chat room. I don't know if he's...
Oh, he may not be there
Remember
anymore.
his Honda
He
Pilot?
Said, feedback for next episode if deemed worthy. Of course, he's winking to Liz. Hey, crew. It's been a while since I've submitted any feedback to the show, so I figured it was maybe time for a quick update in my life. To say I've been busy is an understatement. My full-time job driving for Acme Brown has been keeping me from feeling youthful as my back, knees, and possibly every joint in my body start to ache as a result of the rapid aging that comes from package delivery. But the job is great nonetheless. I also serve on the board of directors for my local airport here in Dunn County, North Dakota. So I'm getting plenty of time working with aviation, as well as particularly on the airport management side of things, which so happens to be what I went to school for. Our little airport, that's what I went to school for too, cool. Our little airport, 9 Yankee 1, for anyone who might want to look it up, is growing at a decent pace. In the last 3 years since I've started serving on the board, we've opened a new general aviation terminal, my second home for when I get kicked to the couch by the missus, commissioned our new AWOS, Aviation Weather Observation, Automated Weather Observation System. Is that what that stands for? I'm just making things up.
Pretty sure.
And are in the final stages of our box hangar construction, which will double our capacity for housing smaller GA aircraft and boxes. I serve as the treasurer, and my job is to basically and quite literally keep the airport lights on by paying all the big bills. I'm not doing much PIC flying at the moment, as I have temporarily had my medical deferred for the time being, but hoping to have it back by the summer in time for AirVenture. Cool. Speaking of AirVenture, this year for me looks to be one of the most exciting visits I have yet, as I got an invite to fly in on the Bonanza mass arrival on Saturday afternoon with a close friend of mine. So far, 101 aircraft are registered with a cap of 130. To be able to join the arrival, you must complete a formation course at an approved clinic. I think AJ was talking about the Bonanza
and Camacho,
formation course.
they were, yeah.
And Camacho, yeah. There are several around the country over the next few weeks, and the closest for us will be in St. Joseph, Missouri at the beginning of May. So that's where we'll be. Cool. Nick Camacho, if you're around the area, or anyone for that matter, let's see if we can get a meetup going. The Midwest Beach Nuts Formation, NUTZ Formation Clinic, as they call it, runs from May 1st through the 4th and is located at Sierra Tango Juliet, which is Rosecrans Memorial Airport. Hope to see some of you there. Continuing the possible APG meetup theme, Captain Nick, my wife, and I will be heading to the UK for an overnight at the end of July. Yes, I'll be cutting my week of AirVenture short, sadly. An opportunity to finally fly on an A380 finally came up, and it was too good to pass up. We'll be staying in London near Tower Bridge if we want to try to get a meetup arranged there as well. Yeah, man, he's doing some good pre-planning here for meetups. That's about...
I've already been in touch, and we're going to try and do that.
Oh, that's awesome. Boy, that sounds like fun. Okay, that's about it for me. This is Logan again. Hope to see you all this summer. Logan from We Only Have Two Seasons, North Dakota. What, winter and like a summer? And the summer is like 2 weeks long or something?
Very short.
Yeah, very short.
Yeah.
But I love the volunteer work he's doing at his airport. That's great.
Yeah, me too. Well, Logan's a great guy.
Yeah, no, very cool.
Hopefully he's not in the
no, we
live
don't want him
audience
to
anymore. I don't want him to hear me say something nice about him.
Yeah.
No, I think he is actually. Logan Lynch at 1746, and it's only 53 now. So he's still there. So, darn it, he heard me say something nice about him.
Yep.
Oh, well, I didn't mean
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you? I didn't
Logan,
mean
we love
it.
you. Thanks for
it's
the
just all for
feedback.
the show.
Yeah.
Love you, man.
We love you. No,
Thanks
we
for
really
letting
do.
us know what you're up to.
Yeah, very good. It's always nice to hear an update from our community.
Like Steve and Logan. More.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Next up is Mr.
Robert Tucker.
Robert Tucker. I don't know where he lives. No, wait a minute. Robert, it lives in Tucker, Georgia. I think he does that on purpose now, just to kind of throw me off. And speaking of throwing me off, Robert, I'm not sure exactly. I think I'm gonna do my best to try to figure out what you're trying to convey to us. He said, "Your mission has landed, Agent Robert." And then he says, "Is this mission possible, Delta Airlines?" So let's see. "Sure, I'll give this a shot on a day yet another old plane caught fire." Okay. "Sure, I'll give this a shot on a day yet another old plane caught fire." And then we already talked about in the news segment, the 330 that caught fire in Orlando. That's the video link that he is linking to in his feedback. I did my best on Facebook to figure out exactly what all these things link to, and I did not see the primary reason for this feedback, which is something that Delta Marketing has chosen to do. They've chosen to be tone deaf and not delay blasting films from the Mission Impossible collection on Delta Sync in-flight, exclusive for SkyMiles members to watch during my next flight on Friday, which I guess is tomorrow. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to catch up before the epic conclusion, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, is released only in theaters on May 23rd. Will this message self-destruct on me Friday? I see what he did there. Very cute. This message will self-destruct in, what do they say, 30 seconds or something like that? So we have a nice little, what do you call this, movie poster from Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning in May of 2025. Our mission is to making yours possible. And so that's kind of cool, I guess. So Delta Sync is like the Delta entertainment system. I think that you can access via the Wi-Fi on the jet via your personal device, like your tablet device or your laptop or whatever. I guess maybe even your phone. And I guess they're making available all of the Mission Impossible series that Tom Cruise has been involved with, up to and not including the latest, which will not be released until later in May.
And then they have something about Delta behind the scenes, so they're featuring people that work behind the scenes at Delta.
Or the heroes behind the scenes. Okay, so it looks like they're kind of highlighting some of the employees at Delta Airlines that make things happen. The everyday heroes who make it possible for more than 5,000 times a day. I guess that's the number of fly. I thought we had, when I was flying there, I thought we had more than 6,000 per day, but maybe they've cut down a little bit.
When you retired, they had to cut back. They
had to cut back because they just couldn't do with workers like myself being retired. They said, "Oh, okay, I guess we're going to have to cut down, make it safe." Okay. All right, very good. Thank you, Robert. I don't think there was any kind of a movie trailer or anything to play on that.
I don't think so, but I wasn't sure. But
Okay.
Anyway, hope he has a good
flight. Well, I did my best to try to figure it out. So thanks, Robert. Let us know how that experience goes for you. I think this is going to be almost the second to the last piece of feedback here from Dean Yoder. And the title is The Anthem of the Regional Airline Pilot. He says, "Hello, fellow aviators. I fly for Acme Jr. and was listening to APG 658 when I was thrilled to finally hear the story of the outro song. I've been wondering the same as Roberta about its origin. I just assumed that I had missed it somewhere. Finally, the mystery has been solved and I can stop being a distracted pilot." Yeah, we don't want to be part of that, Dean. Anyway, he says, "I knew I had to write in and let you guys listen to what I believe to be the anthem of the regional airline pilot. This one was written and performed by one of our very own here at Acme Jr. and is one of my favorite songs ever. The words hit so true." And so now we're going to share this, and hopefully we won't get some kind of a major copyright violation by this dude that sings it. And here we go. I think you'll enjoy this.
Crew services calling, blowing up my phone. Another long day, why won't they leave me alone? I got a penalty lap before I call it a day, but we're gonna time out if we catch a delay. Passengers aboard, the cabin is secure. Now let's finish off the checklist and close the door. I'm a regional jet driver racing against the clock, kicking tires, lighting fires, I ain't ever gonna stop. I'm the first one out and the last one in. Tomorrow we'll wake up and do it all again. Layover, hotel coffee in my hand. I slept through my alarm, now I'm racing to the van. KCM screening is starting to get old, but I won't let it get me down. Now it's go home day on go home leg. Pull the chocks and drop the brake. I'm a regional jet driver racing against the clock, kicking tires, lighting fires, I ain't ever gonna stop. I'm the first one out and the last one in. Tomorrow we'll wake up and do it all again. Minimum red traffic control just put us in a hold. I feel fatigue creeping in. I got 2 days off and one long commute before I do it all over again. I'm a regional jet driver racing against the clock, kicking tires, lighting fires, I ain't ever gonna stop. I'm the first one out and the last one in. Tomorrow we'll wake up and do it all again. Yeah, do it all again. Yeah.
That is awesome.
That's great.
Very good. Lovely voice.
Yeah.
That's Chris Ryan. Okay, here's the deal. Everyone that is listening to this, whether it be the audio only or the video or whatever, or both, I'm going to have the link to his YouTube channel. Again, this is Chris Ryan, Ryan. The name of this was Regional Jet Driver. And I think that's the name of the album as well. And so he has several things on his channel and not a heck of a lot of subscribers. So what I ask you to do is go to his channel. We'll have the link in the show notes. Go to the channel, hit subscribe, and hit thumbs up on everything that you can put a thumbs up on. And that will be massive for Chris. And, showing that showing YouTube that this is something that people like seeing and like watching and like listening to, because they have these algorithms that really, get excited when you do all what I just said to do. So do me a favor, do that, please. And I want Chris to really feel the impact from the APG community. And Loved that song. That's the only one I've heard so far, but he has several other pieces of music on his channel.
Now, I'm far from an expert, but was that country or western?
I'd say country, almost like country rock, wouldn't you say?
Country rock.
Yeah.
I would say country rock.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
Like elements of country, but more
yeehaw
leaning.
Absolutely. And Captain Dean, by the way, Dean, thank you for promoting this, and I can see why this is your theme song, because it really, I love the lyrics of this thing. He says, thank you for all the time and effort you put into the show each and every week for those of us with the syndrome. Oh, man, he's got the syndrome. Talons Douglas, yeah, obviously he has it.
Get
Captain
that man
Dean.
some go around a cylinder.
Good job.
Yeah, definitely. We continue to work on it. We haven't.
Maybe Steve can work on it a bit.
Yeah, no kidding. But
still
still has a lot of side effects, especially the stomach cramps. That seems to be the worst side effect. It says mentioned how many times?
Number 12,
three,
and then
4.
we'll wrap it up.
Okay. Anyway, again, make sure you do what I said. Go to that channel, which I have the link to, and subscribe and click thumbs up.
That's an order
on that. Okay. That is an order. If you don't do it, I don't want to see you back. I'll be looking. I'll know whether you did or not.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to finally end it with this lovely piece of feedback from Roberta in Victoria, BC. Hi, Jeff. Loved all the song history and the rediscovery of the second song, which is, I appended that to the end of the last episode, by the way. But don't alternate. Please, instead, play both every time. Pretty please? Roberta and Victoria. Okay. Well, that would be easier for me just to kind of play one right after the other and just
do it.
Have that as, okay, I'll do it. I mean, you know, people know what to do. If they start hearing that stuff playing, they can just go, okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Move on to another podcast. If they've made it that far to the very end, you know, which would be
the bitter
pretty
end.
Amazing. The bitter end, yeah. All right, Roberta, I'll do my best. Thank you.
All right, let's wrap this baby up.
Time to wrap this baby up, and we're going to point you to our website, airlinepilotguy.com, where you'll find all kinds of good stuff, information about the crew and the community and library. Tiffany, our librarian, manages that for us. We have more detailed and in-depth information about the plane tales. Captain Nick, the old pilot, handles that for us as well. We have, you can go to APG on YouTube and see when we're going to be doing the next video. And you can also, you know, watch the latest one if I hadn't already, you know, set it up for the next one coming up. So much more there. So just check it out, airlinepilotguy.com. We're also on social media, the social medias, and thank God Steph is here now to do this for us.
That's the whole reason I'm here. I know.
Yes.
I know. I couldn't let it go another week not doing the social media for you guys.
Couldn't listen through that again.
To the rescue. To the rescue. So, a couple places to check us out. The usual ones, the regulars. It's facebook.com/airlinepilotguy. Over on X @APG Crew. If you're looking for Captain Nick's show artwork for each show, and I think we've fixed that maybe. That's on Instagram, instagram.com/APG Crew, @APG Crew on Instagram. Or go to YouTube, youtube.com/airlinepilotguy. Check out our live recorded videos there. Join the live audience. Those are the usual places. If you're looking for even more in-depth community interaction, I would encourage you to check out Slack and Hello.
I hear the shower.
Hello never misses an episode. He really doesn't.
Can you tell us about Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
That's quite all right. Come over here and tell us all about it.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas, we suggest episode and Plain Tales topics, we plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com. Or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Thanks a lot, Hillel.
Woohoo! Refill!
Yeah. I still have some left over.
Stealing your soap again.
Yeah, I still have my box of hotel soaps. I'm starting to run dry, but
dry soap, not good.
Yeah, not good at all. A little scratchy. All right, let's see, Liz. Thank you so much for all of the hard work that you do behind the scenes.
Good job, Liz.
Before and after. Yeah, couldn't do it without you, really. Love you. And also we love our fine folks in our live audience, a live chat room. Always the great normal gang there. And occasionally we have some new people. And hopefully they don't get too scared.
It's the abnormal group, Jeff.
The abnormal group. Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. And but we love them anyway, right? Like the Island of Misfit Toys. We love them too.
That's right.
Yeah. Anything else to say before we finally just sign off?
We'll
okay.
Go to bed.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of the APG. And until then, wishing you all clear skies and limited visibility tailwinds. Douglas.
Cheers, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
See you next time.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the airline pilot guy.
Good day.
Now look at them yo-yos, that's the way you do it. You talk a lot on the APG. Now that ain't working, that's the way you do it. Money for flying and your beer for free. Now that ain't working, that's the way you do it. Let me tell you, them guys ain't dumb. Maybe get a little blister on your finger. Maybe get a blister on your thumb. We've got to fly these McDonnell Douglas. We've got to fly these Airbuses. We've got to move these passengers. And we don't do it for free. See that little pilot with the stripes and the mustache? Yeah, buddy, that's his own hair. That little pilot flies his own jet airplane. That little pilot is a millionaire. We've got to fly these McDonnell Douglas. We've got to fly these Airbuses. We've got to move these passengers. And we don't do it for free. I used to be such a good pilot till I started APG. I opened doors for little old ladies. I helped them to their seats. Airline pilot guy, I fly America. Oh, airline pilot guy, he can land in heavy fog. I got no friends cause I'm always flying. I just don't have the time. But I can land this old plane. I can land it just fine. Airline pilot guy,